Yo, what up, guys? Welcome back to the Mandy Sports Podcast. This is the third official episode going on the channel. We appreciate all you guys' support, especially if you're from Instagram. We really appreciate all the love we got on that video, and we're gonna make sure to send more reels your guys' way. But we said we would talk about it this week, so starting off with the first topic, Tom Brady officially retired on Tuesday. And what are your guys' thoughts and opinions? We all thought he was gonna go to like the Raiders or the Dolphins or the 49ers, and now that's completely out of the picture. The best quarterback of all time, 10 Super Bowl appearances, and what do you guys got to say about that?
Yeah, unlike last year, I think he's actually retiring. I do think the great one is done. The greatest of all time, best quarterback, whatever you want to call him, TB12. He's retired, and now other fan bases can be happy that they can win a Super Bowl. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for him and his family. He could finally get out and spend some time with them.
What family?
what family?
Well,
What family?
yeah, what family?
His kids. Anyways, yeah, I mean, good for him. I really thought he was gonna go one more year, but
Me too.
honestly, seeing him retire really surprised me. But it's good for him, man. It's
Yeah,
about time.
it's just crazy. It's the end of an era. I mean, all the older quarterbacks are gone now, and it's time to just move on. Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. That's the new face of, and of course Jalen Hurts, but that's a new face of the NFL. It's crazy to see the best quarterback of all time, the one I grew up watching, is finally out of the sport. And he announced it himself, which I thought was a good move because Schefter punched it too early last time. I just still can't believe he divorced his wife to go 8-9 and be a first round exit. But you gotta do what you
Yeah,
gotta do sometimes.
yeah. The league's gonna be pretty different around him.
Yeah, I mean, he even said he thinks he has one more year in him. He just doesn't want to. He has nothing left to prove. So, I mean, it's a good move. You don't need another Super Bowl, man. You have 7. So, maybe let someone else catch up. At least let a franchise catch up to you. But staying on the topic of Tom Brady, he announced that he will not be starting his ESPN analyzing career until the fall of 2024. And I personally think he's going to be a great announcer. I think his analysis is going to be the best. He's obviously the best quarterback of all time. So I feel like he knows the field better than anybody else does. And I'm really excited to see what he has to say because we know Tony Romo is a pretty good broadcaster, and he's nowhere near the level Tom Brady was about football knowledge. So I'm excited to see what he has to say and how good he's going to do because he got paid a bag. But sticking on the theme of retiring, AJ Green, the former Cincinnati Bengals and current Arizona Cardinals receiver, finally called it quits. He had an amazing career. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. And what do you guys think about that? And how much did he impact the field when he was on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think he went out with a bang too. His last game, he got a 77-yard touchdown, and that was his last touch. But yeah, I mean, he's gonna be missed, especially for all the Cincy fans and shit. He did a lot for them.
Yeah, definitely one of the best Bengals receivers of all time, probably top 5. He had a great career though. He was getting older. Everybody could see that, and I think it's the right decision to retire.
Right. And speaking on his, Bengals career, I'm pretty sure he's still first or second in receiving yards and touchdowns just for, their franchise record for wide receiver. So he obviously had a huge impact, and his years are finally over. But yet again, sticking on the theme of retiring, who's not calling it quits? Matt Ryan, Mr. Ice himself. He's staying. He's coming back for another year. He's getting released from the Colts in the offseason. Where do you guys think he's going to go? Is he going to be a starter? Is he going to be a backup? And what does his future hold?
This dude
I
should
don't.
retire. He's old. He's not good. He got benched for Sam Ellinger. He should have called it a career. He should sign a 1-day contract with Atlanta, call it quits. He shouldn't go anywhere else. He shouldn't play next year. If he does go anywhere, I don't even know where. Maybe like the Jets just to like try to mentor Zach Wilson a little bit, but I don't see him playing anywhere next year.
Yeah, Logan said it best. I mean, he's at least backup material based on this whole season. I mean, he didn't really prove himself as what
Yeah.
he once was.
But, I mean, I don't really think he got a fair chance to prove himself. That offensive line was horrendous. They gave him no time to do anything. I mean, he still has a good arm. Obviously, it's not as good as it was when he was on the Falcons with Julio Jones, but I still think he has it in him. I mean, another year would be nice, just to see him finally play out his career and call it quits at the end of next season. But I'm glad he's staying for another year because he's for sure one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, but when you're about to get benched for somebody who the Colts were experimenting at tight end in the offseason and Sam Ellinger, like, I mean,
But
Yeah, I think he's one of the all-time greats with blowing leads.
I mean, you're right. I mean, he did blow that game against the Vikings, and that's crazy. But
That was a bad blow.
But sticking on the theme of people getting cut in the offseason, Keenan Allen is expected to get cut in the offseason. And, obviously he's injury prone, but he's a very good receiver when he's healthy. This is going to be a great pickup for some team in free agency. Where do you guys think he's going to go?
The Buffalo.
I don't think you guys need an
Oh,
injury prone old receiver.
Keenan, come home. You'd be great with Josh and Diggs. and Gabe Davis.
You guys do not have the money for that. First of all, you guys
Come
aren't you
on.
guys negative in cap
Money
space?
doesn't exist. Money doesn't exist.
You're
You know,
right.
cap
The
space
Rams,
does not
the
exist.
Rams and Saints
Exactly.
prove that.
Exactly.
Well, Logan, where do you think he's gonna go?
I want to see him go to the Bears. It's
Yeah.
it's weird, but young quarterback, young running back, young receivers all around. I mean, Keenan Allen doesn't play a whole lot anyway when he's on a team, so I mean, give him a 1 year contract, see if he can prove himself. You're the Bears, you're not going to be doing anything, so
Yeah, your future is over. Even if you have 100 million cap space, you're never gonna win a
Uh,
Super Bowl.
yeah.
Cordero Patterson was trying to recruit him on Twitter, so I mean, I
Yeah.
could see him go to the Falcons.
He tries to recruit everyone. He was trying to get Steve Wilkes. He was trying to get another coach. He was trying to
Yeah.
get everybody there. I mean, he's a W player for trying to get all these people to go to their team. Nobody wants to be in Atlanta, man.
Speaking of recruiting, did you see Marlon Humphrey's tweet
What was Marlon Humphrey's
when he was
tweet?
asked if he was if he was recruiting at the Pro Bowl?
What'd he say?
They said everybody was asking about if they're going to pay Lamar.
Oh,
I love
gotta
Marlon.
pay Lamar.
You gotta pay Lamar.
Pay
We've
Lamar.
talked about this in every episode, bro. Pay
Gotta
Lamar
pay
Jackson. Pay Lamar now. He's good at throwing. He's good at running. What do you have left to do? I don't understand. What else can he prove?
Whole offense.
He's been injured every year, though. I'll give them that. Like besides the MVP season, he hasn't played a fully healthy all 17 game season. But still, you gotta pay him. Pay Tyler Huntley too. Have two Pro Bowl QBs in the roster.
We know what Lamar is capable of, so
we do. But going back to quarterbacks really quick, ESPN predicted Derek Carr as a Jet. Do you guys agree with that comparison? Where do you think he's gonna go? Obviously, he was given or permission to interview with the Saints tomorrow. But what do you guys think he's gonna do? If he doesn't make the Saints, if they decide they don't want him, where do you think he's gonna go? I mean, do you agree with the Jets or some other team?
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of conspiracies going on with the Jets and the quarterback. I mean, I wouldn't want to see Aaron Rodgers go there. I would rather have him go to the Raiders, but
No.
I think he's going to go to the Saints. But that is very possible, and I would rather him go to the Jets.
I like him in a Saints uniform. Jameis didn't work out. He got benched for Andy Dalton, which was not the right decision, but Dennis Allen is not a great head coach, as we saw. I'd like to see Derek Carr with another bad head coach and see how they could not succeed with him, even though Derek Carr is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. But, you know.
Yeah, head coaches and Derek Carr don't seem to match up very well together. But it's unfortunate, man. I love Derek Carr. Even as a Chiefs fan, I love him. I hope he does good. I also love the Saints, so I think it'd be a pretty nice pairing. But, I don't really see him fitting on the Jets just because, they're trying to get Aaron Rodgers and, they're trying to get some older veteran quarterback. I don't think Derek Carr is the way to go for them. I don't think he'd fit their offense very well, especially with his decision making. I just think like a more experienced quarterback with, good talent would definitely work out there better, like Aaron Rodgers or, even Matt Ryan. I'd rather see Matt Ryan go there over Derek Carr.
Yeah, there's a lot of quarterback options for him. Even Jimmy G. Like, they got a whole list of quarterbacks they can go for. So
yeah,
just not a talented one.
Well, speaking of former head coaches, Brian Flores became the Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator. Hudson, what are your thoughts on that signing?
I mean, it's good for them. It's tough for the Steelers fans, though. I mean, I know he was really good for them and their whole roster and shit, but I don't really know. Maybe like Darius Smith. I don't know if he's a linebacker or not, but yeah, maybe they have a lot they could prove with their star players. I know there's a lot of star players there at linebacker. So I mean, maybe we'll see one of them have a good season next year, and we'll know why.
I completely agree. I think Brian Flores is an amazing coach. I didn't think he deserved to get fired by the Dolphins whatsoever. And obviously, he's great on defense. He was the linebacker coach for Pittsburgh, and obviously, their linebackers worked out pretty good. Especially with T.J. Watt, developing him even more is great for Steelers. So it's definitely tough for them to see him go. But I think he's going to do great things on the Vikings. That is exactly what the Vikings needed. They needed a defensive coordinator that knew what they were doing, highly educated. Their defense was awful, and that was the only reason that they couldn't be true contenders. And, with a top 10 defense even, I can definitely see them doing great things and making a big playoff run next year that we thought they could have this year.
Not good for the Lions, though.
No, not good for the Lions at all. No.
Yeah, I don't know how long Flores will be with the Vikings, though. I mean, kind of proving himself last year, and then with this opportunity to prove himself in his next contract, I mean, he could very easily become the next head coach for a team.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. He's definitely head coach experienced. I mean, he had. I think he needs another opportunity. I don't know why teams won't give him a chance. I know he has a lot of teams on a lawsuit right now, but besides that, I mean, I think he should definitely get a chance somewhere. Well, we were just talking about how bad it is for the Lions that the Vikings got Brian Flores, but speaking of the Lions, Aaron Glenn earned a second interview for the Colts this past weekend. They get 2 third-round compensation picks for wherever he gets hired and how good they do for the season. So where do you guys think he's going to go? Do you think he's going to end up winning that spot over Jeff Saturday, or do you guys think he's going to end up returning to the Lions next year?
I think he'll be
Uh,
with the Lions next year. The Colts have done a lot of second interviews with a lot of candidates. I think that they're still kind of narrowing it down. I wouldn't be shocked if they go into a fourth round of interviews with some of these guys. Yeah, I think he'll be back with the Lions defensive coordinator position next year.
yeah, I don't really see a world where Aaron Glenn really goes to any other team. I mean, he loves our locker room. He loves our vibes. He loves every single player on the whole defense. I could really see him doing something next year. And even though he's kind of fucked us over with being last in the last in the league a couple of years, I mean, give him another chance. I don't really
Yeah.
see another world where he gets him.
I mean, you said it yourself. The Lions were the worst defense in the league for the first 6 games of the season. And, what's crazy is that people were talking about firing Aaron Glenn at the start of the season, and now he has, head coach potential. So obviously he turned it around, but I think he has to come back for another year just strictly based off of the fact that he almost got fired. I don't really think he'd be a great head coach candidate, personally. I could definitely see him in the future getting that job, but as of right now, there's just no way. But Jim Irsay did tweet that they're not going to make their head coach decision for a few more days. He said it's definitely going to take days, not hours. So, I'm excited to see what they do there because they really need a good head coach. And if they hire Jeff Saturday, they're going to have some issues going forward.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, if we keep Aaron Glenn around for another year and he makes us like bottom 5 defense, I think he's gone now.
Yeah, he's not getting a head coach job, that's for sure.
Another amazing defensive coordinator that found a new spot is Edro Avero. He went from the Broncos to the Panthers. And in my opinion, the Panthers are making a really great coaching staff with Reich, Joe Brady, Avero, and their other coaches.
I mean, let's ride, first of all. Definitely good if he's on the Broncos. He came from the defensive side, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, then, I mean, their defense has always been good for the last, 5 years at least. They have great corners. They have great linebackers before they got rid of Bradley Chubb. And I think that's a pretty good hiring because the Broncos defense has always been pretty elite. So I'm excited to see what he does with people like J.C. Horn, Jeremy Chin, and Brian Burns. I love to see the way they develop.
Yeah, like you said, Tyler, I mean, they have a lot of unspoken talent that
Yeah.
no one really talked about throughout the year, but especially Brian Burns. He silently had a very good season.
No?
Yeah, they have that young talent, but they also have that somewhat veteran talent in Shaq Thompson,
Yep. DJ Moore.
Xavier Woods, Dante Jackson. He's been in the league for a couple of years, even though he's somewhat young. They have a pretty solid defense they could have next year.
Yeah, that's why I think they need to draft a quarterback this year. Obviously we're talking about their defense, but their defense could be pretty good within the next 1 or 2 years. I mean, you could definitely see them develop and turn it to a top 15, maybe even pushing top 10 on talent wise of defense. So I think they can get a quarterback and get their offense figured out. Maybe get one more running back. They could definitely be a pretty good team and win that division next year, and maybe win a playoff game. I think that's pushing it a little bit, but there's always a chance.
Yeah, I think with this whole new coaching staff and TomBrady gone, they have a really great advantage over their division. And I said this in past episodes. I think they're going to be like a 9-8 team, and like you said, maybe get a win in the playoffs. Again, it's pushing it depending on who they go against, but
Right.
I think they're a 9-8 team, or maybe even like 10-17.
Yeah, the only team I really see them having to worry about next year would be the Saints. But I mean, we were just talking about it. Dennis Allen's a really bad coach. Derek Carr goes there; they're obviously going to be bad. Michael Thomas will probably get cut and leave. So the Saints' future doesn't look amazing, other than their defense. So I think the Panthers could have that division on lock, just depending on how well they develop.
I would not be shocked if we see what happened in the NFC East a couple years ago, with the best team having 7 wins. I mean, these teams in the NFC South are not great. The Bucks, they have a lot of talent if they can stay healthy, but is Kyle Trask going to be your quarterback next year? I don't really think so. So I wouldn't be shocked if a 7-10 team makes it as the 4 seed just because they have no talent.
Right. I mean, the Bucks aren't awful, but they're gonna lose a lot of players in these upcoming years. Not like a lot of people that Tom Brady recruited are definitely not gonna stay much longer, and they have some old players, man. Like a lot of them are gonna be retiring soon. Mike Evans probably doesn't have that much longer left. Like he's obviously not very old, but he's not gonna be in the league much longer. And their O line's getting a little old. Their defense is consisted of a lot of older players. Leonard Fournette's probably gonna retire soon. Like all those players are just getting up there in age, and they're gonna have to start drafting and building their future soon. So I could definitely see them tanking for a little bit. We talked about the Saints, how we think they're gonna be, just mid, and I don't see the Falcons doing anything. Cordell Patterson is not doing enough apparently, so it's gonna have to be the Panthers and probably like 6 wins. So who knows?
Only way I see the Falcons making a playoff push is if they trade for Lamar Jackson, which
That's
could
possible.
happen.
I could see
It
it.
could,
I mean,
but
they ran good with Mariota, so if they just get a
that's
better
the only
passer,
shot that they have of having a shot next year.
yeah, for sure. Well, we were just speaking about Lamar, and obviously Lamar was not the Ravens' Pro Bowl quarterback this year. It was the GOAT himself, not Tom Brady. It was Tyler Huntley in the Pro Bowl games. So how do you guys feel about the Pro Bowl games? I mean, honestly, I kind of thought it was entertaining. The flag football was pretty fun, and I enjoyed myself just seeing all the players have a lot of fun. All the different competitions. The dodgeball was kind of mid. It wasn't really that good, but I think everything else was pretty good. And what's funny to me is in the kick-tac-toe, the kicker from the Seahawks, Jason Myers, kicked it far left, and RG3 sort of asked if it was Brett Maher.
FC. All right, come on, kick. Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. Is that Brett Maher?
I just thought it was pretty funny. I thought it was a great showing this year. And how do you guys feel about the Pro Bowl games?
It was fun. It was oddly fun. I liked it. Like it's not the same Pro Bowl from like couple years back, but like the Pro Bowl has been awful the past couple years, and I thought this was more fun than the past couple years. With all the games, the flag football, it's like watching a bunch of kids play like elementary school recess, but they're getting paid millions of dollars. It's
Right.
like fun.
The thing I liked about it was that they played 3 games instead of one, so we got to see all the quarterbacks play a little bit more. Because last year they all played a quarter, like every single time, and that just wasn't entertaining to me. But seeing Jared Goff play a full game, and seeing all the quarterbacks that I like play full games was just really fun, and I like the idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to see something new. I don't really like I see that they want to try and whatever, like Jalen Ramsey, blah blah blah, that tackle. But like with the old Pro Bowl, they didn't really have a sense to try. There was a lack of effort, obviously, and I could see they were trying a little bit more in the flag
They're
football.
competitive.
Right.
Because they had to be so cautious before, but now it's like we're playing flag football. You're playing real competitors instead of just people who don't want to get injured. But I mean, Kyle Juszczyk played amazing the whole
Yeah.
time. That diving catch he had was wild. He was the MVP. Nickelodeon needs to send him a trophy because he did amazing.
Besides Geno, yes, he was the MVP.
There was a
Besides
lot of
the 5 touchdown Geno.
Besides Jared
there was
Goff.
a lot of crazy catches like in between players. And,
Yeah, Hawkinson had a pretty good catch too.
Oh yeah.
But even though the Pro Bowl games did that good, they actually only had 6.3 million viewers and had an 8% decrease from last year, which I don't really understand. I mean, I personally didn't watch it. I ended up watching the highlights because I just figured it was going to be bad until like I saw all the clips on Twitter and I realized like, it was actually pretty good. But them going down in views from last year is kind of crazy to me. I thought it was more entertaining, and I don't know if they're gonna keep doing it because that's just not enough for them.
Yeah, I think like starting something new like that, you would think it would increase in views because people
Right.
want to see what they're doing. But yeah, that's
I guess flag football just doesn't sound like it'd be that entertaining until you watch it and realize they're trying so hard. I kind of thought it would be worse than just being soft in normal football. I thought they were gonna not try at all. It was just gonna be boring. It was gonna be one of those things nobody watched. But then everyone started having effort, and the competitiveness was showing. I didn't realize they actually made money. Every winner made like $80,000, and every loser made 42,000. I had no idea that was like the prize of winning. So obviously, if I'm getting $82,000 for winning a flag football game, even if I'm a millionaire, I'm gonna go get that, and I'm gonna go get a Rolls Royce or something. So I'm definitely gonna spend my time on that.
I think they were forced to send it to a charity or something.
I'll just scam the charity like Brett Favre.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, the flag football was fun, but also like the little side games were fun also. Like taking the weight off, like the move the chains game,
What
that
was
was
the
fun.
NFC doing in that game? What was the NFC doing?
Dude,
They
it
left
was
all the weights
stupid.
on. That was so funny.
I think that they're too strong. My
Yeah.
favorite one was probably the gauntlet race one, the one that Panay Sewell almost
Took that-
fell.
Yeah. He did
Um,
fall.
he did. Well, yeah.
It's
I
funny.
mean, just that was so fun to watch. Like just a bunch of linemen running through walls, and then Brian Burns and Miles Garrett jumping over a bunch of things. Brian
so
Burns
fast.
is
Yeah.
so athletic.
Yeah.
There's a reason why his nickname is the Spider. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I also heard Miles Garrett dislocated
His
toe
toe. Yeah.
out of place.
He put it
during
back in
that,
place though. He's good. I think one of the more underrated games of the Pro Bowls though was the water balloon toss. I think that was really fun to watch. Honestly, I loved watching grown men not be able to catch a water balloon because their hands are so strong, and watching them get splashed with water. It was just pretty funny to me, and I liked
Yeah.
seeing all the boys from the Lions participate. It's always good to see them. I love having.
What about best
teammates.
catch too, bro? I'm on Ra.
Yeah, but I didn't.
No.
I like the best catch like competition, but I didn't like where they had the videos. I thought all those were really mid. Like that Justin
Yeah.
Jefferson catch was awful in my opinion. He got like sure it was on like the Eiffel Tower or something. It was like a recreation.
It
Someone
was
threw it
like
down.
a straight shot.
Yeah, and
It was like
it was just one handed. But and Amon-Ra did a flip into the pool. I mean, like it was cool and all, but I think the catches where they had to make it up on the spot and have the trampolines and stuff were way better. And I loved seeing Amon-Ra include Equanimous in the one catch. I thought that was really cool too.
Hitting the trampoline. See, too late.
That was sick.
I
That
was-
was sick.
Diggs cannot catch, man. He didn't catch
No,
a
he
single
can't.
ball.
That was awful. I don't know how we still got 70 points. That's
Right.
crazy.
I'm
Crazy as
actually
well.
glad that Amon-Ra won like he should have in that though. Most of the time you see the name value win in like the NBA dunk contest, for
Yeah.
example. Like usually the big name wins. But Amon-Ra, I feel like Stephon Diggs is a bigger name than Amon-Ra. So I'm glad that the smaller guy won.
Well, as you guys know, the Pro Bowl is pretty much a filler, so the Chiefs and the Eagles had an extra week to prepare for the Super Bowl. Super Bowl's coming up. I know we touched on it a little bit last week, but now we can go a little bit more in depth with it being the Sunday. How do you guys feel about it? Who do you think is going to be the winner? You know, how do you think the teams are going to have to win now that, you know, teams are getting healthier? People are getting activated off IR. What do you guys see happening? What do you think the score is going to be? Let's get some score predictions.
My opinion has not changed from last week. The Eagles are still going to fly through the Chiefs and become two-time Super Bowl champions. Score prediction's tough because like Super Bowls most of the time are underwhelming. So I'm going to say 31 to the Eagles and 23 to the Chiefs. I think it's a one-score game. I think the Chiefs just can't come away with it and the Eagles win.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. I mean, my opinion has not changed whatsoever. I mean, I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. I think the final score is gonna be 20-17. Eagles win. I think they get it done, man.
The number one and number two
I
offenses
want
only
Chiefs.
scoring 40 points combined is a little bit crazy to me.
Yeah.
You never know, bro.
Hudson
You
is
never
betting
know.
the under on the Super Bowl.
And it's
You
betting
never
the
know,
under.
bro.
All right, put money
Yes,
on it.
I am.
Put money on it then.
I'm not.
Oh, he's not gonna
But
put money on it.
listen, man, it'll happen.
All right, well, I
It'll
disagree.
hit. It'll hit.
I think the Chiefs are gonna win this game. I think it's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be a pretty high scoring game. Usually Super Bowls are disappointing. I just don't think this one's gonna be disappointing just because number one offense, number two offense, and then two pretty okay
They
defenses.
both have two okay. Have you seen the Eagles defense?
No, I mean they're both good defenses, but the Chiefs like average them as okay because the Chiefs defense isn't that good.
The Chiefs
So-
are like terrible. The Chiefs defense is terrible. The Eagles are one of the best in the league.
I don't know about calling the Chiefs terrible. That's a little bit crazy to me. Oh, that's 3 games.
I
this
mean,
season.
neither of
defense is
these
bad.
teams are terrible. They're in
Right,
the
they're in the
biggest
Super
game of the
No,
year.
I'm saying the defense is bad. The defense is bad.
You're wrong,
Chiefs
but
defense
that's
is
all
not
right.
that good.
Everyone's wrong sometimes.
Not that good.
I think the
Not
Chiefs
that
are gonna
good.
win this game. I'm gonna say this final score is gonna be 35-31 Chiefs. I think that's gonna be really high scoring actually. Like I'm expecting a really back and forth game, and I know that usually doesn't happen, but I just think this game is gonna be crazy. I think it's gonna be one of the ages. The Kelce brothers, the Nick Sirianni reunion, the Andy Reid reunion. This is just gonna be an amazing game, back and forth. But what's crazy to me is that the Chiefs and Eagles were both 16-3. They had 546 total points scored. They had 6 All-Pros, with one being a Kelce brother and one being their quarterback. And then they both were the number one seeds in their conference. So these teams have a lot in common. They're going to match up amazing together. I think it's crazy they have the exact same amount of points scored, and just all these similarities. I'm just really excited for this game. And weirdly enough, as a Chiefs fan, I'm not as scared for this game as I was against the Bengals. I felt really relaxed this week, and I was excited I didn't have to worry about going into the big game. Obviously, I'm a little bit nervous, but the Chiefs' injuries are
That's
clearing
because
up.
the Bengals are like they completely destroyed you past games.
And they were just talking all week, and it was just making me a little bit nervous.
Dude, it was so annoying, bro.
Bro.
I'm so excited for this Super Bowl.
Me too.
This has all-time great potential.
Absolutely.
Like, this is going to be a very hard-fought game,
Jason Kelce
and
can go out.
I can't wait for it.
Bro,
Yeah.
the under is gonna hit though. The
Nah.
defense is gonna show. I
No,
know
but
it.
the thing
I know
is,
it will, bro.
the thing that's so crazy about this game is that Jason Kelce could walk out retiring from the NFL after this game. Like this could be his last
He
game
will.
if they win the Super
He
Bowl.
will.
Like this is just gonna be a crazy game. I'm really excited for it, and honestly, I don't really hate the Eagles. I like the Eagles, so I'm not gonna be upset with whoever wins this game. I'm just really excited. And the thing that is really exciting to me is that the Chiefs' injuries are all clearing up. L'Jarius Sneed is no longer in the concussion protocol. He passed it. Mahomes said his ankle feels pretty good. Feels a lot better than it did last week. The Chiefs wide receivers are all practicing. The entire active roster, all 53 men, are practicing. Very exciting. The only bad part is McCole Hardman did go on IR. I did call it from last week, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire was activated. I don't think we're going to see too much of him anyway, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I'm just really excited for these two healthy teams to go at each other. And you wanted to call the Chiefs defense bad, but Frank Clark needs 3 more sacks to be the all-time leader in postseason history. He's been a demon. The Chiefs' D-line is amazing, and I'm just excited to see what he can do. If he sacks Jalen Hurts 3 times, he is the all-time leader in the postseason for sacks. It's just crazy. It's an amazing milestone to have, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, he has been in the playoffs quite a bit though, between the Seahawks and the
Exactly.
Chiefs. It's not quite a shocker that he's close to being up there with how much he's played.
I mean, he's still a great player, though. A sack is a sack. You know, you always got to play through, even if it's just one man or if it's double teams or if it's triple teams. It obviously shows that you're good and that you're dominant. He's top 3, so clearly he has a big impact.
I'm gonna tell you right now, that man is not getting 3 sacks against the Eagles O-line, guys.
You never know.
Not gonna happen.
You never
Not
know.
gonna happen.
You never know.
I would bet money that
Money.
I love that Hudson.
That
Not,
money,
like
$5.
this is like somewhat going back. Hudson said that the Chiefs' defense is terrible, yet he has the number 1 offense, only scoring 20 points on it.
Right. That's what I don't understand either. I don't know how it's going to be such a low-scoring game if the Chiefs' defense is one of the worst in the league and the Eagles' offense were number 1.
Super
or
Bowl's
number 2
a
in
whole
everything.
different environment. Super Bowl's a huge environment.
And you know what's crazy
So you
about
just think that the Chiefs are gonna
Yes,
crumble
yeah.
under pressure?
Yeah, and you know what's crazy about that, Hudson, is that there's more Chiefs fans
2017.
in attendance at this game than there is Eagles fans.
Wait, aren't you guys undefeated when Chiefsaholic is in
Yes, that's
prison
another
now?
thing. That's another thing is that Chiefsaholics, his bail or whatever it's called is now it was lowered from 200,000 to 80,000, and if he was requesting a release before the Super Bowl, if he gets released, the Chiefs are losing the game. I'll come back on the podcast. I'll upload a separate video on saying we're losing. Alright guys, I said I'd come on here and record a separate video if Chiefsaholic got released early, and you know it happened earlier than we thought. He got released today, Wednesday, February 8th, and I guess I just gotta come on here and say, hey, we might lose now. We were undefeated, as I said, when he was in jail, and it's really unfortunate, but he's not released from jail. So who knows what's going to happen, but I just want to update everybody and let you guys know he's now out of jail and is roaming the streets. If he stays in jail, we're winning. Undefeated in the regular season and the postseason when Chiefsaholic is in jail for robbing a bank. We are winning the Super Bowl, guys. Let's go. Thank you, Chiefsaholic.
Just don't win the coin toss.
Yeah, you're right. But we have white jerseys on. The white jersey team has won the last 15 out of 18 Super Bowls. So really quickly, there's something else I wanted to mention that I didn't get to mention in the podcast. Something that's really funny to me is that the Cardinals only had 1 home win the entire regular season. And the Chiefs and the Eagles both beat them while they were at home. So this means that since the Super Bowl is in Arizona and the Chiefs and the Eagles both already won in Arizona, whoever wins the Super Bowl has more home wins than the Cardinals did this season. So that's just an obvious reason why Cliff Kingsbury wanted to get fired. But I just want to bring this up because I thought it was really funny and it was something I was meaning to say for the last 2 weeks and I forgot both times. But the crazy thing about this game is that the last time an MVP won the Super Bowl was like 20 years ago or something crazy. And, you know, the 2 top MVP candidates are in the Super Bowl. That hasn't happened in a long time. So between Mahomes and Hurts, this quarterback play is going to be amazing. And I'm really excited to see where this goes.
Speaking of the Eagles and quarterbacks, Jeffrey Lurie, who is the Eagles owner, said that Jalen Hurts has done more than enough to earn a contract extension. I think that this happens this offseason. What do you think, Tyler?
I don't think it's gonna happen this offseason. He has another year or two left before he would need an extension, right? I think they're gonna play that out. I don't think they'll pay him yet. Obviously he's been great. If he demands more money in the offseason, then I'm sure they'll pay him. But if they can get away for another year without paying him and keeping some money to re-sign some of the guys that they want to keep and make another shot at another Super Bowl, maybe they go back to back if they win this one. Who knows? I think they wait until they have to extend him and then they'll pay him a pretty good bag.
Yeah, I mean they already have enough stars in the roster that they really have to pay, and like you said, more than enough. I mean, Super Bowl is more than enough.
See, Tyler, though, what I don't get is why wouldn't you pay him? He becomes an unrestricted free agent after next season. Due to him being a second round pick, they owe him $4 million next year. And I feel like you should just extend him this offseason and not have to worry about that. We don't want another Lamar situation like the Ravens are dealing with right now.
Yeah, but the thing
yeah.
is that the Eagles aren't a bad team. They aren't a bad franchise. They don't have bad owners. I think that they're definitely going to pay him. They know what they have in him. They know he's a star. They know that he works good, especially with A.J. Brown. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to just keep going. I just think that the best decision would be to wait until next year to pay him. Just extend him. Keep a little bit of money for this year. See what you can do in the draft because, they have a pretty high pick this year. So, pay him for a long time, see where you're at, and then pay him for the future. You got to play for now, especially while you're in Super Bowl contention. If Jason Kelce plays one more season, I think it'd be pretty beneficial to have that money just sitting there so everyone gets paid, everyone stays there. And, yeah, I think you got to wait one more year.
Well, talking about the draft, a team who has the best setup for this offseason, over $100 million in available salary cap, and the number one overall pick. Tyler, what do you think that they're going to capitalize on this offseason? You think that they trade the pick? You think that they stick and pick? If you're the Bears GM, if you're Ryan Poles, what are you doing?
If I'm Ryan Poles, I'm picking up the phone and I'm seeing who gives me the most for the pick. There's already been some mocks with multiple first-round picks, and people are saying that's not enough. So if teams are actually willing to, give up that much, if 3 first-round picks even, if they can get, some Trey Lance type finesse, you definitely got to do that. Your future is already extremely bright. When was the last time a team had the number 1 overall pick and didn't need it? That's crazy to me. You're gonna tank. Yeah. You're gonna be awful. You're gonna have your franchise QB. That's just unheard of. I think they definitely trade it. Unless they want Jalen Carter and want to really work on their defense. I could definitely see that happening too. Maybe even Will Anderson Jr. But I definitely think that the best beneficial move for them would be to trade the pick and focus on free agency and get some picks that you can trade some players for. Maybe you want Lamar. Get rid of Justin Fields. Sure, who cares? I think it'd be a pretty good move. Just getting as many players as you can get in free agency in the draft and trade the pick, move down to 12 and take a good defensive player.
Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of rumors going around that they're going to trade Justin Fields for picks, and I don't think it's the best decision. I think they got to stick with him and see how he improves, but it's just a stupid decision if they even get rid of him. I mean, they got to develop him to a franchise guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be like the Ravens not paying Lamar,
There you go.
There
you go, bro. Back to Lamar.
See, a lot of people are talking about the Colts trading up, possibly the Raiders, Seahawks, even I've seen.
I don't think the Raiders.
But I feel like teams aren't talking about the Texans trading up as enough. It's only one spot. We could see a very similar trade to what we saw the Mitchell Trubisky trade up that the Bears did a couple years back when they took Mitch Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I don't think they're going to trade up from number 2 to number 1. I think there's 2 good quarterbacks on the board at least. Even if the Bears decide to trade it for someone else and get Bryce Young or get C.J. Stroud, take the other one. You got to take the chance. Davis Mills isn't your guy. You can't roll with him for another year. I get your tanking and you want to build your team, but you can't keep doing it. It's been a few years now. You're back in line. You're back. You're ready to get a quarterback. Unless you want to tank one more time and get Caleb Williams, you got to pray to God he declares. If that's a quarterback you're trying to set your future to. But I think you take a quarterback with 2 overall and you stick with it. I think a team like the Panthers should trade up to number 1 just because they're a little bit far. The good quarterbacks would be off the board by wherever they're picking. I think they're picking 9 or something like that.
Yes, 9.
So, yeah, I think that they need to just trade up and get the quarterback. Let the Bears pick number 9.
Yeah, I mean, Davis Mills, they were rotating quarterbacks, the Texans.
Yeah, they ran a 2 quarterback offense.
They weren't even their Yeah, it wasn't even their main guy.
Yeah, I mean their third stringer was a tight end and Jeff Driscoll. They put him at tight end and then they moved him back to quarterback in the middle of the year. Like they just Texans they really need a quarterback. That's why I could see them trading up to get their favorite quarterback in the draft, even if it's CJ Stroud. Because that is a very real possibility that people aren't addressing enough. Bryce Young is a better prospect, in my opinion, than CJ Stroud, but his measurables are very questionable to some teams, and that's going to drop him on a lot of boards.
I can't really see how you think Bryce Young's a better prospect than CJ Stroud, just strictly off of his height, his weight. He's like 180 pounds. He's like 5'10". I know they have him listed at like 6'2" or something. I know you were talking about his measurables, but regardless, I just think that talks way too much. Even if his play style is amazing, you can't have a worse Kyler Murray. I mean, I think Kyler's going to be a better rusher than he will turn out to be, and I think his throwing ability is maybe a little bit better than Kyler's. I don't really see it. I think CJ
And
Stroud's
Kyler is a top 15 quarterback in the league.
yeah, but
So if you have a better throwing version of Kyler Murray,
I don't think he's going to be a better thrower. I think it's a possibility. I mean, the chances are obviously there. You can't you can't say he's going to be worse because when you say he's going to be better, you get a Zach Wilson. So there's obviously chances for anything to happen. But I just think that CJ Stroud's going to be a way
Hudson,
better
who's your favorite quarterback in this draft since Tyler doesn't watch film?
I think it's CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it is CJ Stroud.
Yeah, Bryce Young's
But I
too
mean,
small.
Guys, we're Michigan fans.
I don't care, bro.
I
I hate Bryce Young. I think he's ass. So that's my point right now.
Bryce
How?
Young
How do you look at Bryce Young and say that he's not good?
He is 5'10" and 180 pounds. He fucking sucks. Rather have Kyler Murray,
Bryce
bro.
Young, I know both.
Look at Russell Wilson.
Look at Russell Wilson. He's not 5'10" and 180 pounds.
Look at him in his prime.
It doesn't matter.
What is Russell Wilson's measurables? No, at the combine, what is gonna make or break Bryce Young's stop? He needs
His
some.
height.
He needs some of those shoe inserts to make him a couple inches taller if he wants to be the number 1 overall pick.
Right. He's got
Because based on size, CJ Stroud is the better quarterback, but I feel like Bryce Young is more talented. CJ Stroud. Okay. CJ Stroud is a more talented thrower of the football. Bryce Young is a better improviser type.
I can agree with that for sure, but I still.
But his size is going to weigh him down.
Right.
There's a very real possibility that Bryce Young drops past 5 due to the size.
I could see a Malik Willis type thing happening where everyone hypes him up to be a top 5 pick and he falls because no team wants to take a risk on a 5'10" quarterback. And trust me, I know that people like it says in Alabama that he's over 6 foot. And I know that everyone thinks because he's listed on websites and on Wikipedia as over 6 foot, he's 6 foot. He's shorter than Kyler Murray when they took a picture together. He's not 6 foot, guys. He's not.
He's the same height as Mark Ingram.
Right.
He's
not.
He is not. He is not 6 foot.
You can't force yourself to grow, bro. You're a 3rd round pick. Sorry, buddy.
If Bryce Young falls to the 3rd round, I will literally shave my head.
All right. I'll bet $1,000 he doesn't go top 5 overall.
Yeah, you also got to think though, CJ Stroud.
Wait, Tyler, how much are you gonna bet?
I'll bet 1K on it. I'll put a rack on it.
1K that he doesn't go top 5.
That's insane.
Okay.
Nah, I'll make that bet with you.
Alright, come back to this video. He's not top 5.
Come back to this video after the NFL draft. And when Bryce Young goes number 1, Tyler owes me 1K.
On April 27th, I want everybody coming back to this video and clowning Logan. I want everyone to know right now, he thinks Bryce Young is going top 5. When he falls to a 3rd round pick, or if he falls below the top 10,
Third round.
I want Malik Willis was hyped
You're
up.
acting like heights everything, bro.
No, let me finish.
Drew Brees literally went in the 1st round.
Malik Willis was hyped up to be one of the best quarterbacks in last year's draft, and he got passed up by so many different teams for unknown reasons.
He's also a developmental prospect. Everybody knew that. He went to Liberty. University.
Zach Wilson went to BYU, and he went top 5 overall. What are you getting at?
That's a good college.
Who does BYU
This
play?
guy went to Alabama.
Who does BYU
He went to the
play?
most prestigious university in the nation.
You're making the argument worse. I know he got into Alabama, but he has weapons on weapons on weapons on weapons. Throw him on a bad team, and he is going to be dog shit. Unless the Bears get
Did you just compare Bryce Young to Zach Wilson?
Yes, I did. He is the next Zach Wilson. No, obviously not. But if you give him to the Bears or something, and then you give let's say the Bears get a good receiver that's coming out of Alabama, like if they get Marvin Harrison Jr. somehow, maybe he'll be good. Maybe because he has the college connection. But I think if you throw him in some bad situation, he's never going to develop because he's not going to be the quarterback everyone thinks he is. He's too small. He doesn't have the size advantage. He can't run like that. He's going to get murdered on the field. There is no way that this guy is going to be an amazing quarterback. People have him being top 10 in the next 5 years. No, he's not.
That's
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Well, Tyler, you mentioned about the situation. Both of these quarterbacks are in a really good situation because they're built just around stars.
Right.
Ohio State and Alabama.
But you said it yourself.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud is a better thrower of the football. What more?
But Bryce Young is a better current day NFL quarterback.
All right, put him. You said he's a better improviser. Put him on some dog shit team. Give him Cole Kmet and Chase Claypool as his number one options. See what he's gonna do. See what he's gonna do.
People who can't improvise.
Okay, but no.
The Bears aren't taking a quarterback. They have Justin Fields. They're not taking a quarterback.
No, I
we don't have to worry about that.
I get that, but let's just say he was on the Bears real quick. If you gave him Cole Kmet, you gave him Chase Claypool in that awful O-line, he is not improvising shit because he's gonna be garbage. What is he gonna do? He's gonna be a bust. That's my point.
If the Bears had Bryce Young instead of Justin Fields last year, they wouldn't have the number one overall pick. They'd be better with Bryce Young last year than Justin Fields.
I disagree. Justin Fields won them game due to his scrambling. If you took away that aspect, they would maybe only have 2 wins because Bryce Young wouldn't be able to improvise like that. Justin Fields is maybe even a better improviser with the way he can just choose to turn on the Jets and run to the
Running isn't improvising. Running is just running.
Running is improvising. If you see that you have no reads down the field and then you take off, you're improvising. You're making.
Nah, I'm talking about throwing on the run. I'm talking about throwing under pressure. I'm talking about
running is
throwing improviser, not just running the football.
How are you gonna say Justin Fields?
Draft Bijan Robinson if you want an improviser.
How are you gonna say no? That's different. That run options are different than actual run draws. That's completely different. When you are a quarterback,
so about the Ravens, I don't care where Bryce Young or CJ Stroud goes. Anthony Richardson is my favorite quarterback in the draft, so I don't care where those two bums go. Anthony Richardson is the best.
They'll both fall to the 3rd round. Anthony Richardson will be the number 1 overall pick. Just watch.
Yeah. No. I agree. Him and Will Levis go 1 and 2.
Yes, absolutely.
And then Hendon Hooker goes 3.
Right, and Max Duggan goes 4. We're gonna see 4 quarterbacks taken right away. No, but in all seriousness, I don't think CJ Stroud and Bryce Young are going to be as amazing as people think. I don't think they're going to pan out right away. We've seen people think Trevor Lawrence was going to be the most generational talent of all time, and he was going to be put in the situation to take the Jags to the playoffs. He wasn't. He had Urban Meyer as his head coach, and he had bad players on his roster. When you put Bryce Young in a situation like that, because when you think, let's think about it. When you go high as a pick on like a number 1 or number 2 or number 3 pick overall, you're obviously going to a team that doesn't have much talent surrounded by you. Obviously, you're not going to pan out right away. I just don't think with all his attributes being said, being 5'10", being 180 pounds, he's not going to fit anywhere. No team is going to give him the right chance. He's going to fall past 5, and I'm going to win $1,000.
All right. Well, if it's all about situation in the NFL, though. If you put it, like you said, Tyler, if you put a quarterback who's supposed to be the leader of the team in a bad situation with bad players, bad O-line, it's going to end up very, very bad for them. And Trevor Lawrence this year, we saw him improve a little bit with the weapons, but
I want to give you guys a quick hot take real quick. Speaking about Trevor Lawrence, why is he so overrated right now? I understand he was an amazing generational prospect in college, and I get that he had good throws this year. He's not top 5. Please stop putting him in your top 5.
No, he's not.
Please stop putting him in your top 7. Please stop putting him in your top 10. I can see the argument. I can see the argument for top 10, but there's quarterbacks who've proven themselves already. He looks promising. He looks like he's going to have a good future, and he will. He made the playoffs this year. He had an amazing turnaround, but he is so overrated right now. Trevor Lawrence has got to be the most overrated quarterbacks in the league right now.
He's top 12.
Yes, I agree. He's top 12. But the way that people are saying he's top 5, people are saying he's better than Jalen Hurts. I've seen that everywhere. What are you talking about?
Recency bias is insane. We saw it last year with Joe Burrow. We saw it last year with Justin Herbert even.
Yeah,
we see recency bias way too much with these young quarterbacks. Just because you're good for a couple of weeks doesn't make you a top 5 quarterback. People need to realize that.
Like, look at Josh Allen, for example. Like, not even to hate on you, but people were saying that he was top 2 last year, and people were saying that he was better than Mahomes 1A and 1B. Look at what he did this year. That's why you can't put quarterbacks that high so fast. You have to give them time to prove themselves. Josh Allen's not top 2 right now. Well, after that heated discussion we had about quarterbacks, Brock Purdy is out with Tommy John surgery. He's going to miss an entire year. So what do you guys think that leads to the 49ers? Obviously, Brady can't go there, and they have many options. They have Jimmy G, Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers. What do you guys think is going to happen? Because, he's out for a year. Is Trey Lance going to get a start?
Well, Trey Lance is obviously going to be the starter. If Brock Purdy's out for a year, I don't really care what free agent quarterback they're going to sign. They should sign one because Trey Lance is very injury prone, as we've seen. But Trey Lance could be a very good quarterback next year with his potential, even though we haven't quite gotten to see it yet.
Yeah, but my main point about this is, do you guys think that they're going to give Jimmy Garoppolo another chance to come back? Because I know before it was announced that Brock Purdy was going to have to get Tommy John, they said they don't see a world where they bring Jimmy Garoppolo back. But, you need depth at quarterback. Look what happened this year. They had no quarterbacks left on their roster in the NFC Championship. So do you think if Garoppolo can't find another team, he comes back? Or what do you think is going to happen? Where do you guys think he's going to land?
I do think everything they've seen this year and the whole injury situation, I think they'll re-sign him for maybe like another year or something cheap, because I know they have a lot of stars in the roster they have to end up paying at some point. But we haven't seen his opportunity. I think they're going to give it to him and just hope for the best.
Yeah, I don't really see a world where Jimmy Garoppolo does come back, though. Smiling when you're down in the NFC Championship game on the sideline. Rumor to him to the Raiders because of the Josh McDaniels connection. I feel like that's where he'll end up going, to the Raiders, even though I don't think that that's the best thing for the Raiders. But that's I feel the most realistic landing spot for a player like Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you, Logan. I don't really see a world where he comes back either, just because I feel like they've had too much bad blood. Kyle Shanahan was asked if he thinks he's going to come back, and he immediately said, no, I don't see a world where that happens. So, obviously, they're trying to move on from each other, but if Jimmy doesn't get a good chance anywhere, no one wants to sign him, and if the 49ers can't find a good backup quarterback, maybe they come to terms again. So, it's honestly a 50-50, and I don't know. I don't really see him being good on the Raiders. I think the Raiders would just be mid. I don't think they want to be mid after getting Davante Adams and paying him a large bag.
Well, another very realistic possibility now for the Raiders is Aaron Rodgers, with the whole possibly recruiting in Las Vegas during the Pro Bowl. Do you think that happens? Where do you think Rodgers going after his darkness retreat?
Man, I don't really know at this point. A lot of people, when he was at that golf tournament, were just harassing him, asking, if he wants to reunite with Davante Adams, and he said, tell Davante to buy me a house, kind of like how Davante told Derek Carr to buy him a car, and look where he ended up. So, who knows, honestly, at this point, because I think Aaron Rodgers to the Jets is a real possibility still. Going and seeing his old offensive coordinator when he was on the Packers. I see it, but at the same time, that's what the Broncos did. They hired him and then ended up firing him because Nathaniel Hackett kind of sucks. So who knows, honestly. I think it'd be foolish not to go to either of the teams if he ends up using these 4 days that he's spending and decides he doesn't want to come back to football, because he said he was going to take a 4-day leave of absence from everything and just think about himself. I think he's got to pick one of these two. I'm really hoping it's the Jets, but, I think it'd be a good fit on the Raiders as well. Finally have, a really good offense again, because this year was really bad. Davante Adams, and then having Darren Waller, having Hunter Renfrow, and having a pretty okay O-line, and then having a great defense. I could see real potential in the Raiders, even though they should have had it this year.
Yeah, I don't really agree with Hackett being bad. I think he's just not head coach material, because we've seen that with a lot of coaches.
That's fair.
You put them in that position, they can't succeed. But we've narrowed it down to 2 teams. I don't really see a world where it could be any other team than Jets or Raiders.
Yeah.
I think he's going to the Raiders. Right. I think he wants to play with
They said they won't trade him in the NFC, and there's not really another
if you have the Packers talking all this crap about wanting to move on from Rodgers, I don't see why he would even want to go back there in the first place if they're talking all that crap about him.
Especially with their offense positioning, because they gotta give Jordan Love either a chance or they gotta trade him. Because he said he's gonna request a trade if he doesn't play this year. So
Yeah, he said he didn't want to play.
it's
Does Jordan Love have any sort of trade value?
I think so. I think he's he's young potential, and I mean he looked pretty good when he was playing. I don't remember what game it
Yeah,
was
he
this
looked pretty
season,
good.
but when he went in, it might have been the Eagles. He came in at some point this year when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. I don't remember when it was because I wasn't fully watching the game, but I remember when it was announced that Aaron Rodgers couldn't return to the game. I ended up watching the rest of the game, and Jordan Love looked pretty good that game. So I think that he has some trade value. I think he would probably get a chance somewhere else if a team doesn't want to. If a team can't get a good quarterback at the start of the draft, like let's say the Raiders ended up not trading up and all the good quarterbacks were taken, maybe they just go for Jordan Love or something. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers doesn't go there, but who knows? The offense for the Packers is just bad. Obviously we've seen Christian Watson break out, but the offensive line is getting old and they just don't have much star power there anymore. So I don't think Rodgers stays.
Yeah, the Packers have made no moves on offense having to do with their receivers. I mean, they've only really broke out Christian Watson, and the main focus was getting a wide receiver and
Right.
developing one of their receivers.
And the thing is about the wide receivers is that Alan Lazard's leaving. So like they're
Right.
losing their good wide receiver that they have that's already been there and has connection with the Packers, entire organization. So that offense is going to be
Yeah,
poor.
similar to what MVS did last year when he went to the Chiefs. It's kind of that
Mhm.
scenario all over
Right.
again.
So
And despite the Packers not taking a receiver in round one, I still think that their draft panned out fairly well with Christian Watson, Quay Walker, and Devontae Wyatt.
yeah, until
Those were
Quay
three good
Walker
picks.
until Quay Walker pushes a medical staff and gets ejected and ends their season.
Yeah, but he's a fun gadget player. Like he's
Oh, yeah.
he's kind of hot-headed, but
I had
he's a
him-
fun gadget
I
player.
had him pretty high in my mock last year. I think he's a good linebacker, but he's got some attitude issues. He's got
I did not. I'm not a huge Quay Walker fan, but after this year, I could see him maybe being good. I like Nakobe Dean more, but he ended up going in the late third round.
Yeah, I just think someone's got to call up Johnson and give him an attitude adjustment because there's a problem over there. Like
There is.
he's
There's
just,
Dude, you don't just shove some medical staff.
especially after the DeMar
so
Hamlin situation.
stupid.
Come on, man, have
That's
some
so
class.
dumb, dude.
Have some class.
And respect. That's terrible.
Bro is in the way, like the Devontae Adams cameraman, bro. Like get out of my way.
On God. All right, everybody, and that's going to be the end of the podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate you, especially if you're from Instagram. I know I gave you guys a shout out at the beginning of the video, but thank you guys so much. That reel popped off, and we really appreciate all the support. Make sure to go follow all of our socials on the description. It's at Vanity Sports. It's our handle on everything: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. So just make sure to go follow and subscribe with post notifications for more. Like the video, check out all of our individual socials, and we'll see you guys next time.